Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. As part of today's video, I'm going to discuss the top most microservices interview questions for Java freshers and experienced people. So nowadays, microservices are very important. If you don't have microservices in your resume, it is very difficult to get the job. It is very difficult. So we need to give that much importance to Spring Boot and microservices. So let's start the first question. Now we have microservices architecture for developing the applications. Before microservices architecture, what we have to develop the applications? We have monolithic architecture. By using monolithic architecture, earlier people will develop the applications. First, let me discuss what is monolithic application. I want to develop one project. Assume I want to develop one project. It's a banking application. Banking project I want to develop. If you go for any banking project, we have several modules, several components are available, like cards application and insurance application and loans related application and mutual funds related application. Like that, several modules are available in banking project. If you develop a single project with all those components, what components are there? Loans, cards, insurance, mutual funds, like these several modules are available. If you develop a single project with all those modules, then that application is called as what? Monolithic application. What is monolithic application? If you develop a single project with several modules, several components, then that application is called as what? Monolithic application. We have several limitations are there with these monolithic applications. To overcome those limitations, microservices are came into the picture. Let me talk about second question. When we will go for load balancer, how load balancer will distribute the load? Here just now we discussed application with several modules. If multiple modules are available in same application, then multiple requests will come to the same server. Right? For credit card related, same request will come to same server. For debit card related request will come to the same server. For loans related request will come to the same server. For mutual funds related request also will come to the same server. If multiple modules are available in same application, then all requests will go to the same server. Right. So in this case, what it will happen? Burden will be increased on the server. Multiple requests are going to the same server means burden will be increased on the server. Whenever burden increased on the server, automatically server will process the request very slowly. Multiple requests are coming at a time. At that time, what it will happen? Server will process the request very slowly. Sometimes server might get crash also due to heavy traffic, huge traffic. Sometimes server might get crash also. To reduce the burden on the server, now what I want to do? I want to reduce the burden on the server. To reduce the burden on the server, we will use this load balancer concept. We will use load balancer concept to reduce. In interview room, if they ask how to reduce the burden on the server, right? To reduce the burden on the server, we need to go for this load balancer concept. By using load balancer, we can reduce the burden on the server, right? Here load balancer will distribute the load to multiple servers, and right, we call it as a scaling. And this one is nothing but what? Scaling. Generally in interview room, there may be a chance to ask like this also, right? How many ways we can scale our application? How many ways we can scale our application? Two ways are there, and one is vertical scaling, second one is horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling means what? Vertical scaling is nothing but increasing single server capacity. Server is only one, and only one server is there, but we need to increase the capacity. Increasing the capacity means what? Increasing RAM size, increasing hard disk size, increasing processor capacity, like that. Like increasing the capacity of the server is nothing but what? Vertical scaling. Horizontal scaling means what? Maintaining number of servers. Maintaining more number of servers is nothing but what? Horizontal scaling. Right here, generally people will go for horizontal scaling only. Right here, load balancer, what load balancer will do? Load balancer will reduce the burden on the server. Right, to reduce the burden on the server, what load balancer is doing it here? By using these algorithms: round robin algorithm, sticky session algorithm, IP hashing algorithm, load balancer will distribute incoming request to multiple servers. Just now I told, right? If you go for horizontal scaling, multiple servers are available. And right now, what these algorithms will do? Load balancer, by using these algorithms, distribute the load to multiple servers. Understood? What we are doing it here? What we are doing it here? Here in entry room, if they ask how you can scale your application, means we can scale our application in two ways, either by using vertical scaling or by using horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling in the sense what? At single server only, single server only we are increasing the capacity. Increasing the capacity means you can increase RAM size, you can increase hard disk size, and you can increase the processor capacity. Generally, people will go for which one? Horizontal scaling. Horizontal scaling means what? Maintaining more number of servers. Now, multiple requests are coming. What load balancer will do? Load balancer will take all the requests and distribute that request to multiple servers. How it will distribute? By using these three algorithms. Either by using round robin, or by using sticky session, or by using IP hashing, load balancer will distribute incoming request to multiple servers. What load balancer will do? Load balancer will distribute incoming request to multiple servers by using these algorithms. Clear? Next question. What is microservices? What is microservices, and what advantages are there in microservices? Generally, people will think, array microservices in the sense it's a framework. No, microservices is not a framework. Then what is this? It is right. It is a design pattern. It is an architectural design pattern. By using this microservices, what we can do? Whatever the problems we faced in this monolithic application, whatever the problems we faced in earlier monolithic application, by using these microservices, we can overcome all those problems. What we can do? We can overcome the problems which we faced in monolithic application. Here we have several advantages are there. And what advantages are there? What advantages are there in these microservices pro applications? See, easy maintenance. What is easy maintenance? Right. As we are dividing our project functionality into multiple microservices, what we are doing? Just now we discussed. In banking project, we have several modules are there. Right. We are developing single application with all those modules. But now onwards, what we are going to do? We are going to divide our project functionality into multiple microservices. It is very easy to maintain. And right, for credit cards related, one microservice I am going to develop. For mutual funds, mutual funds, another microservice I am going to develop. For loans, another microservice I am going to develop, and like this. Like this, for each module, separate microservices I am going to develop. If you do like that, what it will happen? Easily we can maintain. Easily we can maintain it. Right? So next one is parallel development. And if you go for earlier monolithic application, right, one functionality is completed, then only you can go for next functionality. One functionality is completed, then only you can start next functionality. Dependency is there. But now parallelly we can start the development. Parallelly we can start multiple microservices development. There is no dependency. Right? One team can start working with cards related application. Another team can start work with loans related application. Another team can start working with mutual funds related application. Like that, parallelly we can start the development also. If you do like that, what it will happen? We can save a lot of time. We can save a lot of time. And next feature is faster releases. Faster releases. And if you go for earlier monolithic application, what it will happen? That we can't able to release. You need to wait until completing entire project. Until completing entire project. But in this case, as we are developing limited functionalities, right, limited functionalities, very quickly we can complete the development and testing, then immediately we can release our microservice. Right, earlier, right, we need to wait until completing loans application, until completing, right, credit cards related, until completing mutual funds related, everything right, we need to wait until completing entire application, then only we can release. But here not like that. That here parallel development is there. So after completing cards application, you can release that module. After completing mutual funds application, you can release that microservices. Like that, very quickly we can develop and very quickly we can test and we can release. Next one is easily adapting new technologies. If you go for earlier monolithic application, so that the entire project we need to develop by using single technology. It is very difficult to adopt new technology. It is very difficult to use new technologies in that project. But here, there is no condition like all microservices should develop with Java application only. One microservice you can develop with Java application, another microservice you can develop with the Python application, another microservice you can develop with the .NET application. Right, different new technologies also we can use it here. There is no condition like all applications, all modules should develop with the same application, same technology. Different technologies we can use it here. Next one is what? Scaling, easy scaling. We can scale our microservices based projects very easily. And just now I told already what is scaling, what you are scaling, horizontal scaling. And here we can scale our microservices based projects very easily. Clear what is microservices and what advantages are there? Microservices is not a framework, it is a architectural design pattern. By using these, we can avoid the problems of monolithic architecture. What advantages are there? Easy maintenance, parallel development, faster releases, easily adapting new technologies, and scaling. Easy maintenance means what? That here we are dividing our project into multiple microservices. It is very easy maintenance. Easily we can maintain if you do like this. Right, parallel development. In earlier there is no parallel development, and one by one we need to do. And but now, right, so cards application you can develop simultaneously, other team can work on mutual funds simultaneously, other team can work on loans also. Parallelly we can develop the applications. Faster releases. Here, right, small functionalities we are developing. We are not developing entire application only. So after completing your functionality, you can test and you can release that. After completing another functionality, you can test and you can release. The faster releases are available at here. You don't need to wait until completing all the modules at here. So next one is easily adapting new technologies. At here, there is no condition like all microservices should develop with same technology. All microservices should develop with the same technology. There is no such kind of rule at here. One microservice you can develop with Java, another microservice you can develop with Python, another microservice you can develop with .NET, right? So next one is scaling, right? Microservices based projects very easily we can scale. Microservice based projects very easily we can scale, right? So next question, microservice architecture components. What different components are available in microservice architecture? Right here, main point, there is no generalized architecture for microservices. First of all, you guys need to remember there is no generalized architecture for microservices. Depends on their requirement, depends on their project requirement. right? Right, people will create their own microservice architecture. Right. If you want to talk about generalized microservice architecture, right, we have three main components. What components are there? Service registry one component, microservices second component, API gateway is the another component. If you want to talk about generalized microservice architecture, mainly we have three components are there: service registry, microservices, and API gateway. Right. So there is no rule in every project. Compulsory we should use all these components only. Based on their requirement, some people won't use API gateway. Only they will use service registry and microservices. Some people will use only microservices and API gateway. They won't use service registry. Depends on their requirement, they can choose. Right. So next question. Explain about microservice architecture. Explain about microservice architecture. See here, this is the microservice architecture, right? Just now I discussed. Just now, right, we have seen it. Here mainly we have three components are there. What three components are there? API gateway is there, service registry is there, and microservices also available at here. API gateway, service registry, and microservices are available. First, let me talk about what is the service registry. This service registry, what is the purpose of service registry? Service registry is used to register all available service in our project. See here, how many services are available? Service 1, service 2, service 3. All services we are registering with this service registry. We can use Eureka server as a service registry. We can use Eureka server as a service registry. What we are doing? Service 1 is registering with service registry. Service 2 also registering with the service registry. Service 3 also registering with service registry like this. What advantages? What is the advantage if you do like this? Service registry will provide a dashboard. What service registry will do? It will provide one user interface, a dashboard with the service information. With all services information, service registry will provide one dashboard. Right? What information it is providing? What is the status of the services? What is the health of that service? And URLs and service related URLs. Everything you can able to see in the dashboard. Right here, these three services are registered with Eureka, right? In this Eureka dashboard, we can able to see what is the health of the service 1. What is the URL of service 1? What is the status of service 1? What is the health of service 2? What is the URL of service 2? What is the health of service 2? Like that, each and every service information we can see in this dashboard. What service registry is doing? Service registry is providing one dashboard, right, with all services information. Understood? Next time, one service is nothing but what? One service. Here service 1, service 2, service 3 is there. And here each service is one REST API. Each service is one REST API. Here as a service registry, what we are using? Eureka server we are using. Eureka server we are using as a service registry. Right? So next one is what? Next one is services. Services are nothing but what? REST APIs are called as services in microservices. REST APIs only called as services in microservices based projects. Now, what these services will contain? What these REST APIs contain? And this REST APIs contains business logic to perform our business operations. Right? REST APIs contains business logic to perform, right, business operations. Next, as part of business operation, one REST API can communicate with another REST API also. See, and service 1 API is communicating with the service 2 API. Service 2 API is communicating with service 1 API. Right? As part of business operation, one API can communicate with another API also like this. Here what it is happening? Here what is happening? service 1 is communicating with the service 2 is communicating with the service 1 and microservices based project means it is a collection of REST APIs and we can say microservices based project means collection of REST APIs. If you want to work with microservices, compulsory you should have very strong knowledge on REST APIs development. Then only you can able to work with microservices and microservices means what and REST APIs only. REST APIs only and right in microservices what we are doing? We are doing required configurations, right? So next one is API gateway. What is this API gateway Andy? Right, this API gateway is an API management tool and it is a management tool, right? Where it is available and it will sit between client. See, this is the client end. It will sit between client and backend collection of backend services and see these are the services. This is the client, right? This API gateway will sit between client and collection of backend services. Collection of backend services and right. Backend services are nothing but what? Our REST APIs only. Backend services are nothing but our REST APIs only. API gateway acts as single entry point for all clients. If anybody wants to send the request, first that request will go to this API gateway only. That request will go to API gateway only and right in API gateway we can write the logic to filter user request. Here we can write the security related code, filtering related code, everything inside this API gateway. Whenever client submit the request, here only filtering is happening. Filtering is happening inside this API gateway only, right? So API gateway will sit between client and collection of backend services. For every request, this API gateway will work as entry point. This is the main gate. If you want to enter, if you want to access these services, first you need to cross this API gateway and then only you can able to access. If your request is not proper, here only you will come back. It won't go forward. If it won't go forward and clear. Here three main components: API gateway, service registry, and services. Right? Let me talk about next question. How many ways we can implement REST clients? Right here in microservices, resources are available, clients are available. Resources means what? Service providers. Resources means service providers. Clients means what? Consumers. Service consumers are nothing but clients. If you want to develop clients, how many ways we can develop? How many ways we can develop? And three ways we can develop. Three ways we can develop the clients. Right? By using REST template you can develop. By using web client you can develop. By using FIN client also we can develop. Either by using REST template or by using web client or by using FIN client also we can develop clients. Clear this one? How many ways we can implement REST clients? These are the three ways we have to implement REST clients: REST template, web client, and FIN client. What is inter-service communication? Next question. What is inter-service communication? In our project, assume multiple services are available. In our project, multiple services are available. If one service, one microservice is accessing another microservices and one microservice wants to access another microservice, then right here accessing one microservice is accessing another microservices is called as what? Inter-service communication. In our project, if one microservice is accessing another microservice, then it is called as inter-service communication. But both services will be available in same project. Both services will be available in same project. In our project, if one microservice is accessing another microservice, then it is called as inter-service communication. But here what is the rule? Both services should be available in same project. Next question. How to configure FIAN client for inter-service communication. How to configure FIAN client for inter-service communication. If you want to configure FIAN client in your project, right, we have pom.xml, right? In that pom.xml, we need to add one dependency. Which dependency we need to add? Spring cloud starter open FIAN. This dependency we need to add inside our pom.xml file. Which dependency? Spring cloud starter open FIAN. This dependency we need to add inside pom.xml file. So next we need to create one interface for FIAN client and use @FIAN client, right? Sorry, here client annotation, all the things are right came as single word, and here we need to use @FIAN client. Only @FIAN client annotation we need to use on top of that interface. Here two things mainly we need to do. Inside pom.xml we need to add this dependency, and we need to create one interface for FIAN client by using, right, we need to use @FIAN client annotation. We need to use @FIAN client annotation also. What about next question? How to create service registry? Service registry I want to create. Simple. If you want to create service registry, then in our pom.xml, two main dependencies are required. What dependencies? One is starter web is required. Second one is Netflix-Eureka-server dependency also required. Second dependency, Netflix-Eureka-server dependency also required. So we have main application, right? In Spring Boot, main application is there and start class. Right, in that start class, we need to specify enable Eureka server annotation also. Right, first point, two dependencies are required inside POM, which is a starter web. Second one is Eureka server. So next step, in our start class, we need to specify enable Eureka server annotation. And one more important thing is there. Here, port number 8761 we need to take. Why, Andy? Why? You can take anything, Andy, but recommended to take this one, Andy. Why it is recommended, Andy? Why it is recommended? For Eureka, 8761 is the default port number, Andy. For Eureka, this 8761 is the default port number, Andy. If port is 8761, clients can auto detect the Eureka server, Andy. Right? If port number is 8761, then clients can auto detect Eureka server and will get registered itself. Right? If Eureka server port number, if you take 8761, clients can auto detect this Eureka server and clients can register. If port number is not 8761, then we have to register clients manually. Understood? If you take a different port number, we have to register the clients manually. If you take port number as 8761, clients can auto detect this Eureka server and they can register. Next, run boot application and you can access Eureka dashboard. Right, next important question. How to implement API gateway? How to implement API gateway? Right, here, if you want to implement API gateway, mainly three dependencies we need to take inside our pom.xml file. Which dependencies? One starter web is required. Next one is Spring Cloud provided Netflix Joule dependency. Spring Cloud Netflix Joule proxy, Joule dependency we need to take. Next one is Spring Cloud Netflix Eureka client also we need to take. These three dependencies we need to take. So next step, we have start class, right? In that start class, we need to specify enable Joule proxy annotation and enable discovery client annotation also. Right, in start class we need to take these two annotations, and at the rate enable Joule proxy, at the rate enable discovery client we need to specify in start class. Next point, configure API gateway with Eureka server registration, in YML file. We need to configure API gateway with Eureka server registration in YML file. Next one, configure routing and first the API gateway is the entry point for all the requests, right? From there, where we need to send that request, that routings also required at here, and we need to configure routing to access backend services in YML file, and we need to configure routing also to access backend services in YML file. Configure application name and port number, and we need to configure application name and port number also. These are the main steps. And what main steps are there? Three dependencies we need to add: starter web, Joule and Eureka client. So next, in start class we need to specify two annotations: enable Joule proxy, enable discovery client. Next, in configuration file, means YML file, in YML file we need to configure API gateway with Eureka server registration. Next, configure routing to access backend services, and here API gateway will sit between client and collection of backend services. Whenever request come to API gateway, we need to configure the routing, and here we need to inside API gateway we need to configure the routing setting. Right. So which backend server this request I need to forward. So that configuration also, that routing configuration also we need to configure. So next, configure application name and port number. Right. So these are the main important microservices related questions. Right. So in the next video, I will do few more interview questions. Multiple videos I am going to do on microservices interview questions. Right. I will discuss a few more interview questions in the next video. I hope you guys are enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, please subscribe, share, and put one comment related to these questions. If you guys are expecting more, I will do the videos on those things. What you guys are expecting, please put in comment section. Thank you guys.